This is Mr. Marian Rudnyk. He's a former astronomer for NASA, and the reason you're looking at him right now is because he wrote this book. And this book was based seminally on events which took place on Sunday, New Year's Day of 2017. On that day, he was at a McDonald's in Monrovia, California, and he witnessed multiple UFOs/UAP, which he ran out of the restaurant and documented with his camera. Again, this is in Monrovia, California, on January 1st, 2017. Now, the reason we want to highlight this is because we were also in Monrovia, California around that time. And as you can see at the bottom left, there's the McDonald's that Mr. Rudnyk was at on New Year's Day. As you'll also see, on the top right is Library Park. And that's where we were on December 17th, 2016, 2 weeks prior and 1 mile away from Mr. Rudnyk and his sighting. Again, we're talking about 1 mile and 14 days in terms of a time and space differential between the video we are about to review and the sighting which led to Mr. Rudnyk's book. What do you think they are? What do you think they are? So there are 6 UFOs, one fast flyer, and a child who, through her lens, when asked to describe them, sees them as flying jellyfish without being prompted and with having zero frame of reference for a description of that nature. Now here's the fast flyer, but also understand it's only in 2 frames because this camera was from 2016. Then this is what we're going to see next, and we're showing it slowed first so you have a sense of what to look for. Yeah, it sure looked like it, didn't it? Yeah, it sure looked like it, didn't it? So this was obvious, even to a child, that these things were moving in formation. Neither of us observed in real time that there was a light orb traveling multiple times the speed of sound right in front of us. So it's fascinating. In this one video capture, we have 3 separate aspects of it. Obviously, the 6 UAP, the fast flyer, and then the light orb, whatever you want to call it, traveling super, super fast. And what's interesting, too, is that this park was full of people, and we were the only ones that seemed to care that anything was happening above us. So at the outset of this undertaking, we mentioned on several occasions that, this may not be the time for you to accept this reality. And we understand in retrospect that might sound a bit patronizing, but the reason we're putting this video out now is to show you that for 7.5 years, we had this video. And at the time we took it, it wasn't our time. We knew what was on the video. We could see it for ourselves, but we weren't ready for it. There was zero acceptance. So when we say, it may not be your time for this, again, we're not being asses. We're speaking from a point of reference which is experiential. We understand that mentally you just might not be ready. That's it. And again, there's no fault to it. And this is a perfect example of us having evidence that we weren't ready for either. But for those who are ready and do understand that this is our current reality, we've got some pretty cool stuff to show you here. Check these out. So a lot of these were starting zoomed in and in slow-mo, so you have an idea of what is happening and what to focus on. This is something coming up and checking out an airplane. just like we've shown many a times previously. That's hard to explain away. And this is it in real time, which is next to impossible to see. But, I mean, this thing came from distance, came right up to an aircraft, checked it out, and bounced. And if this MO looks familiar, it should, because in our last video, this is what we showed you coming from the bottom left, catching up to this helicopter, getting up to cockpit level, doing whatever it was doing, and then retreating. It's the same MO, but we see it with low-flying helicopters, and we see it with aircraft at 18 to 20,000 feet in the air, like that one. Here's another one, and we put this filter on it so you could see that this was not a foreground incursion. This thing goes in front of the helicopter. And there it is in real time and real speed. You can try any number of ways to explain this away, but, you know, the more of these we capture and present, the less you can explain them away. And again, we're starting close up so you have a sense of what to look for. And these two both seem to be interested in this commercial flight. And in real time, good luck. There's no way you're seeing that. But once you slow it down and you know what to look for, and by now we do, these things are so predictable. Whatever these things are, they are predictable. And even when they're slowed like this, I mean, at 60 frames per second, they're still hopping through the scene like it's nobody's business. And then you look at it in real speed like this, and it's like, forget about it. What are we doing here? And you can look and see how slow the exhaust stream is, sort of similar to the rotor speed of a helicopter, to get a sense. And speaking of which, here is two that cross each other, and look at the rotor speed. If you want an idea of how fast these things are actually moving, there's nothing prosaic is doing this. I mean, this is performance in technology or biology that's on a level just above us. That's all there is to that. I mean, the speeds that we're talking about here and the performance ability is just not even comparable to what we have in our skies. It just isn't. And that might be hard to accept, but it's the fact. And we end again on this one because this is behavior. This isn't a fluke. Something came up to a commercial flight, observed it, and then decided to leave. And there is nothing anybody could do to stop that. Thanks for joining us, folks. See you next time.